Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to discuss romantic relationships. Because something you see in a lot of people is this need, almost obsession to find love, to find a romantic partner. And I want to talk about where this is actually coming from, why we feel like we need somebody in order to complete us. And I also want to discuss, based on my personal experience, what we actually need in order to feel fulfilled in life. So what I find the most shocking about finding love, romantic relationships and all that is the amount of people who will settle for abusive, unhappy relationships instead of simply being single. And I feel like there's something very wrong with that. And it shows where the mindset is in our society. We are getting programmed literally from the beginning that our goal in life is to find a partner and to have a family. That is what we all need to do. And if we don't find it, somehow we are missing out. Somehow we are broken. Somehow there's something wrong with us. And something I hear a lot of people say, also a lot of my clients who are single, a lot of people are constantly pressuring them about being in a relationship. Why haven't you met somebody yet? What are you doing to meet somebody? Are you using dating apps? Are you going on any dates? There is this outside pressure coming from other people to, kind of almost bully you into getting into a relationship. And then, of course, it makes you feel uncomfortable. It makes you feel like there's something wrong with you. But then when you are actually looking at the people who are in relationships, the people who are telling you why aren't you in a relationship, they are actually not in a happy relationship. Pretty much all of the people who are pressuring others to be in relationships are deeply, deeply unhappy within their relationship. And then you have to ask yourself, well, isn't it better to be single, to be loving and kind to myself, instead of being in a relationship that makes me unhappy just because other people will stop telling me to get into a relationship? Is it really worth it? And that is what we have to understand about people. People will always project their insecurities onto you. It never has anything to do with you. So they might be in an unhappy relationship. They see you being single, so they can't take it. They want you to be in a relationship too, subconsciously, because they believe that is the right thing to do. Because if they actually admit to themselves, I'm in an unhappy relationship, that person is single and that person is doing really, really well, maybe that means I need to do something. I need to change something. And the ego doesn't want to go there. The ego doesn't want change. The ego doesn't want you to figure this out, essentially. So it's easier to project your insecurities onto other people than to actually look at your own life and see what you need to change. So when you are single and people on the outside are constantly pressuring you, maybe you need to throw the ball back, actually, and tell them, well, are you happy in your relationship? Why do you actually think a relationship is good? Why do you personally think I should be in a relationship? And then they have something to think about. So I think we can all agree there is a lot of pressure around relationships, finding a partner. There's also this added bonus of we believe time is running out for some reason. People tell you, oh, you need to find somebody in your 20s. If you haven't found somebody, then all the good ones are gone and you will never find somebody. You will never have children. You will never have a family. And all of this programming adds a layer of stress to everything. Because I believe having a relationship is actually a beautiful thing. That is something we can all want. I think it's something beautiful. Why wouldn't you have somebody to spend your life with? But you have to ask yourself, what are you willing to give up to actually be in that relationship? I personally, for myself, will only ever be in a relationship when there's complete harmony and balance within that relationship, because I have complete harmony and balance within myself. So I'm not adding people into my life who are going to create incoherence. Because why would I? Because that is also something we have to understand. We bring people into our lives who are also suffering in their own way. When we are suffering on the inside, we are attracting people who are also suffering on the inside. And then you come together and then you're both suffering in your own way. So a relationship doesn't fix anything. It really doesn't fix one single thing. It only adds more. And you just have to make sure that what you are adding is actually something good, something beautiful. And then we just have to admit to the fact that hardly anybody on this planet actually has a loving and kind relationship with themselves. And I feel like that is the number one priority before you even think about getting into a romantic relationship. You need to have a good relationship with yourself, because otherwise, again, you are bringing incoherence into a relationship. And then often there's also this argument of, oh yeah, but I want to start a family, I want to have children. But then again, you have to ask yourself, do you really want to have an incoherent relationship and then bring a child into that incoherent relationship so that the child will suffer as well? So based on my personal experience, my personal opinion on romantic relationships is we need to find love from within first. We need to have a kind relationship with ourselves. We need to stop putting romantic relationships on a pedestal. And we need to recognize that having a romantic relationship is truly not that important. It's more important that you have a loving and kind relationship with yourself. There's literally nothing else in this world that is as important as this. The romantic relationship, it will just follow. It will just come to you. Because I'm sure we can all agree, based on personal life experience, when you want to manifest somebody based on loneliness, desperation, sadness, because you believe you need a partner to complete you or fulfill you, you will always exclusively attract people who are in a low vibration, who you can't have a loving and kind relationship with. You always attract exactly what you are sending out. And when you are sending out desperation and loneliness, guess what you're going to get back? So we, humanity, every single one of us individually, we need to cultivate a loving and kind relationship with ourselves. And then once we have that, that is when we can think about adding a partner into our lives. That is when we can actually think about being in a relationship. Because let's be honest here, how many people, how many children suffered because their parents didn't have a loving and kind relationship? Let's just be completely honest here. So many people, so many of my clients, so many people I've spoken to, friends, family members, everybody is suffering when their parents do not have a loving and kind relationship with themselves. And that is simply the truth. So instead of being obsessed with finding a partner so you can start a family, so you can be in a relationship, bring in the same amount of energy, the same amount of willingness into having a kind relationship with yourself. And if every single person on this planet did this, there would be harmony and balance within relationships as well. But now when you are actually looking at relationships, you are listening to their stories, you are looking at everything that is happening, there's absolutely nothing that would pull me into wanting that. Because it just adds more incoherence, more pain and suffering. People are so unkind to each other. The stories I have witnessed, the stories I have heard, the stories I have experienced for myself, it's so destructive. It adds so much pain and suffering. And why is that desirable? I just don't understand it. And I don't understand why we're not questioning it more, why we are not actually talking about it more, why we are not actually saying it why we are not actually seeing it for exactly what it is. Why can't we say what is? Why can't we say it how it is? So in my personal opinion, we need to find back to love, joy, and happiness on the inside. Again, we need to cultivate a loving relationship with ourselves. That is the most important relationship we will ever have. And we need to recognize that we are being programmed into feeling this need to have a romantic relationship. And if we don't have it, we feel like there's something wrong with us. But actually, there's nothing wrong with us. Absolutely nothing. We are working on ourselves. We all have a responsibility here, and we need to be loving and kind to ourselves. When we are, it's impossible to be unkind to another person. And once we get this world back into coherence and harmony, that is when we can actually also have relationships with people again, like proper, meaningful relationships. Not just being in a relationship for the sake of being in a relationship. Just so you can change your Facebook status, just so you can post pictures of you and your partner on Instagram. We need to create something meaningful again, something truly meaningful, and it starts within.